I'm feeling a bit smug today because I bought a Parkside plasma cutter from Lidl's the other day. I've got a plasma cutter, but I wanted one that was just on hand all the time, so I could just literally use it when I wanted to. And I've got an extractor bench here, which is a welding extractor bench, which is ideal for where you want to do your plasma cutting. So I thought to myself, I want the plasma cutter mounted somewhere where I can use it anytime I want, but it's not in my way. So I thought, what's the best way to do it? So what I did, I looked on eBay, and for £8 I managed to score a 50-inch television articulating bracket. So what I've done is mounted it, screwed it to the side of my plasma cutter, just using the original screws, and I put some double-sided tape on it as well, just to make it doubly good, and then bolted it to the wall. And now I can position the plasma cutter pretty much anywhere I want it over the benches. And as you can see, because it's on an articulating TV stand, you can fold it all the way back and back against the wall, out of the way. So I'm feeling a bit smug. Lovely. One of the jobs I have to do quite frequently is create Reliant drums to fit to trikes, because I use all new parts on my trikes. Brand new Reliant drums are not available. You can buy brand new classic mini drums and modify them, but I've found an easier way to do it is to buy 7-inch Morris Minor drums, which basically come like this. They're the same hole arrangement as the Reliant. Just for example, I'll show you a Reliant one. That's an old Reliant drum. You can see the holes are bigger. The center hole is bigger. This hole here. This hole is bigger. These holes are the same. The other alterations are this face is turned back further. If you look at the face on the Morris Minor one, it doesn't go back as far, so that needs to be machined out. The hole in the center needs to be machined out, and a section of the skirt. If you look at the skirt on that one, I cut that one off. Have a look at that one. It's got a lot more skirt on it. A section of the skirt has to come off like that. And this is just a little tool that I've knocked up to make it easier to do it. And I do it in my big lathe with a 10-inch chuck. So what I've basically made is, it's very crude, I just knocked it up to basically see if it would work all right. But what I've basically done is taken the tool stock off, and in its place I've put a 10mm plate underneath with a 12.5mm hole drilled and tapped to 12mm by 1.75. And what I've then done is just welded a piece of box. I've got a piece of box here welded to a piece of box there with a bolt, another piece of box here with two big 64mm exhaust clamps welded to it, and then I've welded a series of pieces of 15mm pipe so that I've got basically I can adjust it slightly. And obviously you can slide this bolt here, you can slide up and down, so you can adjust where the cutting disc is actually going to connect with the material. But this is just a lot easier than using a lathe cutting tool, which is generally a lot thicker and requires a lot more material to come off. So anyway, let's see that working in action. I run it on a slow speed, 99 revs per minute, and there you have it. Ooh. A clean but dusty cut, and I've done 3 so far on the same blade, so it's not inefficient when it comes to use of the cutting blades. I'll clean the lens and then I'll go back through it again. So just so you can see again how I've made it, in case you were interested in making one for yourselves. It's just a piece of 10mm flat bar underneath there with a hole drilled in it and a thread tapped to 12mm bolt. There's a spacer inside there so that the box section doesn't crush when you tighten the bolt up. You can probably see it better from there. Yeah, you can see it quite well from there. 15mm tube here, 15mm ID tube. I've welded 3 pieces on that. That's just to give me 3 different positions that it can be bolted up. And I've welded 2 pieces of 25 by 50 box together to create this slot, which obviously I could do it a lot better than that. This is just a crude mock-up just to see if it would work all right, which it does. 2, I think they were 64, yes, 2 64mm. Well, it depends on your angle grinder, but I've used 2 64mm exhaust brackets, then just fed the angle grinder into them and tightened them up. Not too tight, not ridiculously tight, but it keeps the grinder good and stiff and allows me to push it in. Now, when it comes to feeding it in, use a slow speed on your chuck. You don't want the chuck to be turning too quickly because you need to give the blade time to work. So what I would say there, I'm running it at 96 RPM. I could run it down to 46 RPM, but you've got to sort of find a good spot where it stays concentric, otherwise the blade will try to follow the cut rather than the cut following the blade. So yeah, just run it in slowly, and you should know your own tool, you should know your own angle grinder. You can tell if you're pushing it too hard because you'll hear the motor slow down, so you just keep it that it's cutting comfortably. And I think the only other important thing to make sure you do is make sure you keep the blade concentric with or parallel with the cut, so that you're not trying to bend the blade. And I'm using 1.6mm Actually, I think they're 1.2 mil cutting discs, not the thin 1 mil cutting discs, because I would be afraid that they might shatter. But the 1.2, 1.6 mil cutting discs are fine as long as you've got them cutting parallel, so as you're not off at an angle or anything. So that's just a little quick tip that I thought some people might find useful. And the other tip, obviously, is rather than using mini drums to convert to Reliant drums, use Morris Minor 7-inch. It just saves you a little bit of machining, because the mini has this lip here that I've cut through. The mini has it all the way down, so you got more material you have to cut off with the mini. So that's all of the flanges done. Now I need to change the tool round so that I can do the centres, and hopefully at the same time, I know I won't be able to do the outer edge. I'll do the outer edge first, then I'll trim down the outer edge, and then I can do the centres. So there we go. There's 4 Morris Minor 7-inch drums converted to Reliant hubs. So they'll now accept mini brake drums, which is these, but this is some grotty old second-hand ones which I won't be using. I'll be fitting brand new ones, but that's what it'll have, is the new twin piston classic mini brakes rather than the old Reliant brakes. Nice new drums. Just got to get them degreased and painted. Thanks for watching.